Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grains of Truth, which is a Witcher tabletop RPG game starring yours truly and a bunch of other fine folks. This is the first RPG game of 2019 on stream, so woo!
Yay!
We did it! But yeah, so this is going to be our proper session one after last one, which was kind of like a semi-session one. Not quite.
Session 1 3/4, probably. Yeah.
We have the gang all together, and without further ado, I shall introduce them. Our GM for the night is Jason.
Hello! I should be a familiar face on this channel by now. It's Jason Catrone at just Jason Please on Twitter. You can catch me there or catch me on here every alternating Tuesday. And indeed, perhaps in between. Now you can also catch me on Encounter Roleplay. Very exciting times, yes, at 2 p.m. EST. On one of their shows, a show by the name of Inquisitor, where I play Vasily Taltos, a incinerant and loyal servant of the Emperor. But for now, I am the GM, presiding over the proceedings with, obviously, Susanna Grace and Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm here every so often to do the role plays and the durnders, and yeah, that. This time round, though, I'm a Witcher. Yeah, never done that before. Never played this system before, except from briefly.
Yep.
The last sort of intro session, so I will get this wrong a lot. So bear with that and have fun. I'm trying to be positive for the new year. Is it working?
Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking of, lower your expectations immediately.
Wow, no, this is a high quality channel. No, look. People only value the product that you're putting out if you value it. So we value this show. We value ourselves. So shut up.
At 2 cents per 1,000 people.
I know where our value is. I didn't say we didn't value. I'm just saying it's low value.
This is
We're on sale.
Wow. Look.
Brilliant way to introduce yet our final player. Alice, how are you doing?
I'm good. I took a 2-hour nap and I'm sleepy.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, microphone just went again.
I did it. You guys have been like robot-y too. I think I'm gonna go into my actual office and go to my big monster computer. So carry on. I will be back.
She will be back. She will be playing Faelynis. Do not worry, audience.
Elven
You shall see
disaster.
her again.
Yes.
All right. Bye for now.
I will.
Oh no, cameras. Wait. It's fine. Carry on. Jason, do the talk.
Absolutely. Well, as you all might know, this is Grains of Truth, a bi-weekly campaign set in the world of The Witcher, where I, your humble DM, will be guiding Isabelle de Leoncourt, the character of Susanna Grace, Talon, the Witcher, character of Jamie, and Faelynis, the elven rogue criminal of Alice's design. This is set during the winter months of 1266, I want to say, or no, 1262. Just after The Witcher 2's events have transpired. The full explanation of the timeline is on a separate VOD that will hopefully be posted to YouTube sometime soon. If not, then there will be a tweet put out that'll explain the full timeline. And the events of The Witcher 3, which, as I'm sure everyone will remember, took place in 1263 of May. Could be getting that wrong horribly. If I am, don't tell me. But as it stands, a quick summation of events. 2 of the 3 persons seated here, Isabelle de Leoncourt and Faelynis, have both received letters of a sensitive nature imploring them, none too kindly, to find themselves in the employ of A dwarven individual by the name of Gallon. I know the names so well, you guys. After a brief sort of fiasco with trying to pinpoint the location of the Witcher, the servant of Gallon, a man by the name of Erst Mateo, met with Isabel and explained somewhat the duties and responsibilities that he anticipated her and her compatriot to sort of take on. While the Witcher is not exactly unreliable, perhaps his skill set could be expanded upon by compatriots of certain skills and uses. As such, the specifics of the contract have yet to be determined. However, Isabel and Talon, as you find yourself in the humble office amidst the Novigrad docks of Gallon... Oh gosh, which clan did I make him a part of? I know I made him a part of a certain clan. Let me just find this out because it's incredibly important and I need to stall for time. No, not Erst Mateo. I think I might have made him part of Clan Dahlberg. Galen Dahlberg sounds about right.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Oh, here she is. Let me
Here we go.
Oh boy. Oh god, there's 2 Jamies now. God help us.
Ha ha. You're all...
So menacing. All right. Yes, Galen Dahlberg. I did get that right. All right. Hello.
Am I back?
You're back, and
You're
you
back.
sound so good.
It's my fancy mic.
Oh.
Oh, now you have my dulcet tones.
And with those dulcet tones, we find a presence at the door of Galen's office. A loud banging of some sort upon the entryway. It's somewhat frantic, somewhat exasperated. It's a multitude of feelings being communicated via this simple knock. Galen turns to Erst, sort of looking up to him and saying, "Well, go on then. Let them in, whoever they are." Erst, without much protest, but a healthy amount of skepticism, goes to the door and gently pulls inward before being pushed to the side by a dwarven compatriot and a elven lass who has brilliantly or who is in, I suppose, currently the process of tying up a donkey onto one of the posts of the entryway to this building.
Yeah. What does one say when tying up a donkey? Well, there you go.
You're very preoccupied with this action at the minute, Faelynis. However, after much deliberation, negotiation, and exasperation on the part of your guide, dwarf by the name of Sojin, you have finally arrived to where you were called to.
Okay.
Indeed, the tone of the letter that you received was not very kind, especially as it read as follows. Faelynis, I'll bet you thought that laying low would make those pesky witchcraft allegations blow over. You've disappeared before, and in your case, you'll go centuries beyond those simple folks who smeared your good name and ran you out of their town. Unfortunately for you, while we humans may be short-lived, our hatred endures for eons. Don't believe me? Then watch as a copy of those allegations, and indeed of your entire criminal record, settles on the desk of Caleb Menga himself. I assure you, that little hovel you share with Nyla and Dommel would be little more than an ash heap come the morn, should you refuse to follow my dear friend to the Golden Sturgeon. There's another whom you must collect there, but afterwards rest assured, we shall meet.
Rude.
Indeed, and this sort of intone to you the importance by which you might find yourself in the employ of whoever you were to meet at the Golden Sturgeon. However, due to your rather fierce negotiations with Sojin about bringing along the actual donkey, and indeed the litany of questions that you had for him, you were delayed. As such, when you actually arrived at the Golden Sturgeon, nobody that Sojin recognized was there. After a brief speak with one of the barmaids, he divined that they had adjourned to Galen's proper office, and so led you there. As you walk along, Sojin was kind of flustered about the whole ordeal, and you get the sense that he doesn't keep cool under pressure, like, at all. But is there anything you would have specifically asked as you sort of walked along?
I don't think I would have necessarily asked. I think I wouldn't ask questions. I think I would have just had things to say. I'm like, I could have just asked. I mean, there's no need to become violent and make threats about this. I hadn't even had a chance to say no. You know, I've done things. This isn't new. Just the whole ride of just things like that.
So Sojin's just trying to plug his ears and like ignore the fact that he's late. And as he sort of stumbles in Galen's office, he sort of looks to Eos Mateo and kind of kicks his shin a little bit. The two scuffle before Galen kind of raises his voice. Hey! Cut that out, will you? Get in here. What is that, a donkey? He says, as Faelynis, you are led into the room and the door is closed behind you. As you enter the room, Isabel, what does she see as the form of Isabel de Leoncourt is revealed?
You see a young woman, like in her like mid-20s, extremely hot, like just beyond a manner you could probably like comprehend, because you get it's probably magical. You can probably tell looking at her that she's a sorceress. She's like Yennefer hot, not like peasant in White Orchard hot. And she's wearing like this very nicely made dress that's made of thicker fabric of white and blue. It's very nicely well tailored, and there is like the little telltale Nilfgaardian collar going on. She has this like big fur coat, and she has lovely like curly hair. It's like a chestnutty brown, and she has that look on her face like she's just a horrible bitch as she sort of looks at you and quirks an eyebrow.
It's gonna be like, someone fan her. She's sweating, please.
Yeah. You do see, even with this sort of impeccable style, there are flecks of mud that sort of cling to the cloak and kind of...
Oh yeah, that happened, didn't it?
Yes. Even though there is this various groomed and this... not various, what's the word? This veritable pinnacle of grooming habits and style. There's just ever so slightly the hint of... travel of world weariness that sort of clings to at least the clothes.
She definitely looks like she's not from Novigrad, let's put it that way.
Yeah, she looks like she's from out of town. On the complete on almost the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we see Talon, the Witcher, which you obviously divine from the two swords that cling to his back. So what does Faelynis see?
A sorry sight. He's not had the best of luck in certain fights. Therefore, half of his face, in like almost entirely from like here across the side of his head, is just claw mark scars, which have kind of influenced the hairstyle as well. So it's all like shaved up to here, and then it just braids down the back. Sort of middle age, leaning to look at him. The hair's starting to grey now, but it's still quite dark as it is now. Very tall, well, not very tall, but like he's 6'3"-ish. So not very, but still tall. Yeah, he's not the most muscular, but he's more lean than anything else.
More of
has
a
this
live
permanent,
frame.
yeah, sort of a permanent look of like he's done with the world, just like get on with it kind of look. It seems like that is the base setting.
He's weary of the goings on of the world. If only there were a term or an adjective that could describe that. But sorry to dunk on you real quick. But in terms of dress, is he armored? Is he
armored, but like what was it that we have? It's just a double woven gambeson, so it's not like overly, but probably more protected than some others in the room.
Of course, ready for combat, and indeed, actually, as you sort of traipse your eyes across his form, there is a medallion which hangs. If you could describe it, of course.
I'll just come out and say it because it's a griffin head, as opposed to the more popular wolf that everyone knows for whatever reason.
Or indeed the twin-coiled snakes of the Viper school.
That's true.
Is infamous more often than not. So,
but yes, it's a griffin hanging off of his neck this time around.
Indeed.
Not this time around. It's always going to be a griffin.
Yeah, it's not going to change. Like it's.
He's like Benny from The Mummy with like chains with all the different skulls on it, like whichever one he needs at the time. Like, yeah, Viper, cat, wolf.
And he just opens his closet, just whoosh. Today. Yeah,
Avid collector. An avid collector of Vedimaneaca. All right. So, final character descriptions as we finally rest the camera squarely upon Faelynis.
I was gonna say, have I done mine yet?
Not yet. Now you can.
Now I can. All right. So she's, I'd put her tall-ish. 5'11", somewhere in there. Very athletically built without like being like extremely muscular. Lithe, if you will.
Indeed. A lot of live people in the party.
Yes. Mostly because she just hasn't had a chance to eat in a while. She kind of eats when she can, so it's normally she's a bit more, I wouldn't say plump, but a little bit more on the chubbier end. Like
full in the face.
You can tell she enjoys her food.
Right.
And long red straight hair. She's not looking so good right now, as things have, she's been on the run and hiding, so it could use a good brush at this point. Has a white billowy shirt on that, well, it was once upon a time white. It's probably a little more grayed and
off gray, kind of brownish.
Needs some laundering, yeah. Just not necessarily she's completely unclean at this point, but she's like, she could use with a good scrub down. Like just like leather like corset top that's like brown and green, brown pants. It's just very, very forest oriented.
Yes.
What else about her? Oh yes, she is missing her. Which one is it? I'm trying to take a picture. Which is it? It's her right eye. She's missing
her right eye.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
It's her right eye. Take a picture I drew. Yes.
Is the glass eye in or?
I actually have her wearing an eye patch now. I thought it was a better option. Yes. Right. So she has she's covered. There's a nice scar you could see runs underneath it.
Indeed.
Very sharp featured individual, but very pretty still.
Indeed. And elven as intoned before. So
yes.
It's very strange for all of you actually at this point. Faelynis being as it is now obvious that you are in the presence of a sorceress and a witcher, even by first glance, it's strange to be amongst those who are long-lived. Dwarves and the elder folk especially. The only human within this menagerie that you see is this very severe individual who sort of stands as resolutely as he can as Sojin kind of like stomps at his feet and like curses at him in Dwarvish. But as this occurs, Galen kind of raises his hand. All right, Sojin, you can calm down. And he gets from behind the table that he was stationed at and kind of like pushes Sojin away, bopping him on the side of his head. What's the matter with you? And Sojin just sort of points to him, says something in Dwarvish. Do any of you understand it?
I don't know if I do. I don't think I do.
That's actually interesting at this point because languages work in sort of like skills. Do you know how many points in languages you have, or is it a baseline fluency?
I think it's just a baseline fluency. I mean, my intelligence is pretty high, but I don't have any points into Dwarven, so.
Okay. I have 1 in Dwarven.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me a language Dwarvish check.
Okay.
Him or me? Just him?
This will be for him, since he knows the language.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's an 8 on the dice with a +1 for the Dwarven. Is there a language skill separate to that? Or?
It's intelligence.
It's intelligence, so you add your intelligence.
Oh, okay, so then that would be an 18.
Okay, so just for the audience at home, the way that dice works in this game, or skill checks work in this game, dice rolls are basically cumulative, so whatever you roll on a d10, you add the relevant statistic, which is usually like intelligence, strength, etc., to the roll, and then you add whatever the specific skill is. In this case, language, Dwarvish. So with a 1, an 8 on the die, you said, that's 9, and then with an intelligence of
10.
9, or intelligence of 10, excuse me. So that's a 19. So, even though you're new to the Dwarvish language and have been trying to sort of learn, you catch on pretty quick, and you especially know when somebody's being cursed at violently. Sojin basically tells Galen to blow it out his ass and to not let this fucking round ear ever write another potential employee ever again. Pointing, of course, to Erst Mateo. He brushes past Galen at this point and grabs what seems to be like a wine bottle off of a separate table and kind of marches out of the room unceremoniously. Galen kind of looks to Erst and like incredulously looks him over. Erst just kind of shrugs. Finally getting a good look at Galen the dwarf, Faelynis. This is your potential employer, at least from what you've gathered. He's a little bit more of a jovial spirit with, I believe, hair sort of like a lion's mane in terms of like the way that it frames his face with a very thick beard that kind of clings to it. He turns to you and sort of nods.
I nod back.
Well, now, finally, guess the gang's all here. I wouldn't suppose that you'd be a healer of any kind?
No.
Oh, marvelous. I could always use it.
You just don't get hit.
Good philosophy, good philosophy. Right. If you come to the table, we are discussing some contracts that perhaps you might be interested in taking on.
I walk over to the table, grab the chair, flip it backwards, and sit. Yep.
You're going to be talking to some very cool teens.
Yes, I How do you do, fellow kids?
All right. Isabel Talon, as you see all this transpire and Galen rejoins you at the table, is there anything you'd like to do or ask or say?
Giggle at the swearing and have another swig of whatever alcohol it was that I required at the end of last session.
It was very strong. Yeah, it was it was sort of a diluted Mahakam spirit, so let's go ahead and roll just I think this would be an endurance check.
Okay.
Like, because this is a strong alcohol, even when it's diluted.
Okay, so where am I looking for endurance? Okay. Whereabouts is endurance?
Endurance is under body. It's a skill.
I was looking separately. Oh, yeah, I have a plus to that. Okay, so then it's guess so 5 14.
Okay. Unfortunately for you, as you sort of down it and feel it kind of burn down your throat, you get the sense that that burning sensation is not going to go away for a while. And indeed, as it hits your stomach, there's like a sensation of like a wet towel hitting the lines of your stomach and just sticking there. And it doesn't go away. It distracts you quite severely.
I pretend like it never happened. I will it to have not existed, and I will ignore it forever.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I assume at some point, if we didn't have it last session, a glass of wine would have found its way into Isabel's hand somehow, which she holds very fabulously.
Indeed.
And she'll walk over and stand like at the head of the table at the other side, away from Galen.
All right.
And sort of like lube over the board a bit, like over the table, see what's going on.
All right. So, Talon, this is a very familiar sight to you. The basic gist of Galen's business is that he works in shipping. It's all very legitimate and above board. Most of the time, at least from what you've seen. However, obviously, with the world being what it is, especially in winter, caravans and the like experience adversity, unfortunately. Adversity that might be able to be overcome by someone such as yourself. A very skilled individual of the monster-slaying persuasion. As such, at least for the winter, as witchers traditionally go back to their keep to tell their schools of all that they've learned, etc., but with the griffin being so dwindled at this point, might as well make money somehow. Galen has guaranteed to you a steady stream of income, if and only if you complete a number of contracts for him. He looks to both you, Faelynis, and Isabel, offering to you the same sort of arrangement. Isabel, if you remember, you negotiated full rent on your residence with Laurent.
Mm-hmm.
How could I forget, of course? Your bonnet knight of Toussaint. Well, former knight, at least. And Faelynis, to you, he offers lodging at the Golden Sturgeon. The building that, if you remember, you did come from with Sojin. It's a good inn, very low profile in terms of clientele, at least, and a certain upgrade from where you are at the minute.
That would definitely be quite an upgrade from where I'm at. A hole in the ground, basically.
Yeah, the hole in the ground with the roof on top. Like,
Yeah.
So do you think that would be enough for Faelynis, or would there be extra considerations?
No money, just residence?
We can negotiate a stipend dependent upon your performance with the contracts, but I figured as a baseline it might be prudent to at least make sure that you don't get a cold.
Reasonable. No, I can work with that. Is there any way I could talk you into getting me a bath? And maybe a cleanup here. It's been rough.
All right. You were a little quiet on that last bit. Could you say it again?
Just asked him if I could negotiate maybe a bath. It's been a little rough.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh goodness. Let's see. Where would that be under?
That would be under empathy, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So that'd be 11.
11. Okay. Ellen kind of blinks a few times and says, "Well, I'm surely not opposed to being hygienic. I suppose that with your first contract, we can swing for a bath for you."
Simple needs, really.
Indeed. Erst, mark that down. Erst kind of takes out a ledger and grumbles to himself as he writes this down.
Well, and I do have to ask, real quick. Did you write this letter? You seem far too pleasant to have written this letter.
Unfortunately, I delegated the responsibilities to reach out to potential employees with Erst. He apparently went above and beyond my intentions, and he shoots a very dire look to Erst, who kind of brushes it off.
Just say, look at Erst and I just say, maybe don't open with threats. I was more likely to run than I was to accept. All you had to do was say, "Hey, here's a job." I would have taken it. I'm not in the best position. Just a thought.
In my line of experience, threats often are more convincing than flattery.
If you say no, then you go for it. You didn't have to flatter, just say, "Hey, you need a job? Cool, get over here."
Nothing exactly in your history, pardon my intonation, of course, and assumption, suggests that perhaps you would be seeking gainful employment of a semi-legitimate, and he stops himself, of a fully legitimate company.
But still, you don't have to threaten to burn my house, as it's, what it is, what have you, to the ground and throw me to the law.
The actions of Menga are the actions of Menga. My actions are my own.
Okay.
There's a sort of tension that kind of revives itself before being broken by Galen saying, "Anyway!" The fact of the matter is, at this point, you're all here. We might as well get you on the road. There are a few matters that would do well to have your attention on them. Especially you, Talon. Kind of grumbles.
Well, go on then.
Right. He pulls out a couple of contracts and sort of thumbs through them, kind of... excuse me. Going through a number of missives before pulling out a couple that seem to be of a little bit more urgent priority. He holds up one aloft, written on sort of a very loose parchment. Here. There's one, Marcus of Flotsam. He's one of our runners. He was going towards Cadwyn in that area. Apparently he's been stopped by something. Don't know exactly what it is, but his operations and movements have since ceased. They requested your services specifically. Said something about corpse eaters or something like that.
Right, and how long ago has it been since you last actually heard from him?
This was last night. Erst
Right.
received it in the morning.
Well, sounds like a priority, I suppose.
But there are several, and he sort of pulls out another. This one, apparently, there's a couple of problems. You remember Bloomfoot, do you? And he asks you sort of pointedly, Talon. Go ahead and make... Excuse me. Go ahead and make... This would probably be... deduction check. Or no, you know what? Business. That's a business check. Why not?
You switched it from when I had more in to when I had no in.
Well, too bad.
Yeah. So that'll be a 14.
Okay. Bloomfoot. Gnomish fella is not exactly the most loud or kind of forceful in personality, but a few conversations that you've had with him seem to be cordial enough for you to maybe take a shine to him. This, however, he holds aloft and says, apparently Bloomfoot and his crew have run into a bit of trouble, to the point where actually Bloomfoot's been lost. Don't know exactly what happened, but apparently there was some sort of kerfuffle that him and his caravan encountered outside of Erston.
Right.
If you could make your way there, that would be a fine, bloody idea. He sort of grumbles to himself.
And how do we know that he's lost, then? How many of the company have you managed to get in contact with?
This was written by one of his apprentices.
Right.
At this point, you remember that Bloomfoot was a tailor at this point. A tailor of quite reasonable skill. As such, we can only assume the worst, but I'd rather not have to think about the idea that one of our main sources of income, especially during this blasted winter, could potentially be dead. So investigate that as you fancy.
What sort of trouble are you expecting here? Are we talking bandits, other criminals, monsters?
Bandits in winter, eh? Could be a possibility. I'm not ruling it out, but if they're writing us and they're talking about him, and he sort of points at Talon, you're going to be expecting something much more nefarious.
Oh.
He sort of sighs and rubs the back of his neck with very thick fingers, kind of scratching at it, and sighing once more. Those are the two most urgent as it stands. There are a couple of our customers that have been complaining of certain things, but I don't want to set you upon anything that doesn't require your services.
That's fair. Well, if you're sending us out as a group, I suppose I should help. I should let them have a say in it. But personally, I wouldn't mind going after the gnome. He's quiet. I like him.
Quiet is good, yes. Actually, yes, I agree. Quiet is nice. Pleasant, even.
Well, he's a nice guy, It's winter.
Kind of shoot a glance at Erst and just go, I'll take pleasant.
Erst kind of returns the glare.
Mind you, things eating corpses are always a bad idea too, so... I don't know. How far away is I've forgotten what the gnome's name was, hence why I called him the gnome, but it was Bloom something?
Bloomfoot.
Bloomfoot.
Erston is around probably about a day's walk south of Novigrad. Or no, a day's ride. A little bit longer if you're walking. And it seemed that the area that the other caravan, Marcus of Flotsam, had sort of been a part of, that was also about a day's ride west, or east. That's where east is. So it really just depends on what your preferences are.
Well, I can't really speak for either of them, but I'd be happy either way. Wouldn't mind going after Bloomfoot. And as you say, you don't want to lose major income over the winter, do you?
Marcus is a bit of a prick anyway. Galen kind of chuckles to himself. All right. Last we heard, at least from this missive, they were in the forests. And he sort of squints. Bloody handwriting. I've lost. Oh no. Forests near Erston. So Erston being about south, about a day's walk or so. It's fine. Probably. I'm pretty sure if you just follow the roads, you'll find some caravan or some semblance of it.
Assuming they were just carrying the same old goods, textiles and the like.
Textiles and the like, eh? Although, if there is lost cargo, be sure to make a count of it, eh?
Well, I mean, I'd need to know what the cargo was in order to know what's missing.
I'm sure there's probably bound to be someone there. He sort of thinks, Erst, who do we assign to that one? Erst kind of looks through.
This is such a tightly run ship. I feel so confident in working for this organization.
You should, says Galen quite jovially, missing the sarcasm entirely.
I'm chuckling to myself. I kind of put my head in.
I kind of look at Faelynis and just down the rest of my wine, like...
and just the acknowledgement.
Erst kind of looking through the ledger. Adele. Adele is her name. Ah, that was it. She's the quartermistress of the whole caravan. It's supposed to be going south, or, well, southeast to Lyria, but that's another story for another time. Galen kind of shakes his head.
Right then, well, I'm happy going for that one. I can't really speak for the other two.
I'll defer to the Master Witcher on this one.
I don't care. I don't have a choice much in this matter. It's all going to be the same.
Exactly. It's one or the other, really, isn't it? We don't exactly have much of a choice.
Thought I'd give you the option. I'll be going after the gnome either way.
Appreciate it. Still, there's my answer.
I can already tell this was a brilliant move. Galen kind of grits his teeth and looks to Erst, again, very pointedly. Again, that tension in the air, it's just not going away, is it?
Oh, I'm going to keep it there.
Oh, yeah, I'm reveling. I'm swimming in it. I'm loving it.
Of course
Hope
you
it
are.
lasts.
Well, I'm ready to go whenever, so...
Well, I'd recommend alerting whoever you're residing with of the new arrangements. Or at least, giving us leeway to do so on your behalf.
Oh, no. You know exactly how I feel about that. I will convey the message. Thank you.
Galen kind of acknowledging kind of how much he's screwed up, he kind of looks to you. I understand that first impressions stick no matter what. I implore you, I ask of you, understand that was not my intention. I will see to it that those that you care for are cared for. He nods, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Isabel nods back, and then she sort of leans over and says, well, if you're bringing me on board, perhaps if you need to write more letters to future employees, you might have me write them. And they'll take on a much less threatening tone. Your man here is, perhaps more skilled in other areas, shall we say.
That he is. But I shall consider your offer.
I'll nod. She does give a small smile.
In the corner, you see that Erst is fuming, but...
Yeah, I kind of smile at S too. Just stir that pot. Stir it.
Whenever you're brought on to a new organization, always remember to piss off your coworkers.
Yep.
That's the best way.
Especially the one that's threatened to throw me to the eternal fire, you know?
I mean, how else was it? Never mind. I'm not justifying this character's actions to any of you.
You shouldn't, because it's great for story.
All right. So,
are we taking off now? Or...
You hear the braying of a donkey as this question is asked.
I need to pop back to my lodgings. I have a message to convey and some things to pack, but I'm free to leave today.
I guess I'll be waiting for you then.
I just want a bath. Please.
I was about I accompany you down to the Golden Stallion and explain the situation, eh?
Good man.
Erst, stay here and don't cause trouble.
Get up and how close am I to Erst?
I'll say that you're probably the closest.
Okay, make sure you give him like a good pat on the back and say, "Have a good one." Get out the door.
It's like patting like a pile of like steel rods. Like it's not like it's not pleasant. But
Doesn't matter. Point got across.
Galen kind of clears his throat and hops to your side and kind of his eyes widen as once again there is a donkey tied to a post outside his office.
As I walk past, I just turn to Faelynis and go, "Nice ass."
And
then
it's
walk
my
away.
sweet baby. You can pet it.
No, thank you. I will refrain from touching your ass.
Fair enough.
It has now begun to chew on like a random tuft of dried grass that is clinging to the bottom of this post. Galen kind of blinks a few times. I don't want to ask what how and he's very confused.
How what?
How did you come to own this? I thought you were well. He clears his throat. Erst made it seem as though you were in dire straits. Yet you can afford to have this.
Well, what I got, my sweet baby Twinkle here, things were going better. And then things were not going better.
Run that name by me again.
Twinkle.
You elves. Wait. He stutters and stops himself from asking any more stupid questions and leads you back to the Golden Sturgeon for a bath and other considerations.
Bring I bring my sweet baby Twinkle with me.
Twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, little ass. Talon, you are left alone with Erst, who has returned to his desk, kind of surreptitiously squirreling away at some notes upon it.
I just kind of stare him down for a few seconds while everyone else leaves, and then start preparing for the trip.
Anything you might like to requisition, Master Witcher?
Other than transportation, not all right, lot. Why? Anything fancy?
2 horses. I trust that shall suffice.
Well, one's got a donkey, and I don't imagine if they ride it or what, but we'll find out.
Not ride-worthy, but you'll probably have to share a saddle.
Someone will.
Forgot. You witches are none too fond of anything, really.
What's that supposed to mean?
Mutations,
I just stare him down.
Mutations, etc., etc.
Just get the horses.
They'll be gotten, and they'll be waiting for you near the... got to get the gate. You see him flipping through some notes. They'll be waiting for you down at the portside gate.
Good. And I'll leave him alone.
All right. As you sort of leave him to his own devices, is there any special preparations you would like to make or take as the... I'll say there's probably about a few hours that each of you are given to sort of do what thou wilt.
Fill a travel flask. Definitely on the list. Beyond that, I don't really know. I don't know what I can prepare or things. It's a new system.
Well, as far as I know, there are a few alchemical formulae that you know or that you have access to.
Yeah.
Do you think you might craft one of those in the time allotted?
I don't know how long it takes for them, but let's have a look at what I've got, because I may have or may not have forgotten which ones I have. So,
sure.
Elevator music for a couple of minutes.
Elevator music for a couple of minutes as we adjourn from Talon in the office. Isabel, as you make your way back to the bits where you came from, yes, indeed, you find yourself taking a little bit of a different route, sticking to the main island before making your way north past a shopkeep and a row of establishments that are to the east of Hierarch Square, especially considering the last time that you crossed Hierarch Square, it was punctuated by a flirtatious moment with, well, someone within the Church of the Eternal Fire.
Mm-hmm.
A rather young lad, whoever he was. As you sort of walk along, you draw a bit of attention to yourself. Obviously, especially with your dress. Some of the beggars indeed kind of reach out to you kind of feebly.
Whipping them skirts far away from the beggars. Get that cloak away from those stinky people. That's Isabel talking, not me. You should give money to people.
I know. So as you sort of whip away, you see their attitude just kind of like sullen acceptance, like they understand. One of them slightly a slightly younger lady. From what you can see, kind of elven in heritage. She kind of, as you walk away, she kind of spits at you and looks to you very harshly.
Just keep my chin up and keep walking.
Under her breath, she whispers something in the elder tongue. I'm assuming you don't...
Oh, I do? I'm
Oh,
a
you do?
sorceress. Of course I speak Elder speech.
That's fair. All right. So, do you specifically know Elven or the Elven dialect, or is it Nilfgaardian?
It doesn't say. It's just Elder
Okay.
speech.
Okay, we'll say that it's probably Nilfgaardian given your origin.
Mhm.
So this means that you get a -3 to any check that involves a dialect outside of that outside of Nilfgaardian.
Right. Okay. So let me
So-
roll.
Roll the d10.
So it's a 10 on the dice. 9 intelligence, 19. My skill in Elder speech is 8, so -3 is 5. So 24.
24. All right.
I'm smart.
You understand it perfectly. It's hard to translate directly. I.e., I'm not reading fucking Elder speech because it's basically Welsh. But it's something along the lines of all that finery and you're rotten to the core.
Yeah, that basically just sort of smiles and keeps walking.
She, once more, as she sees this smile, she kind of yells after you, may the devil make his roost in your ass, and kind of turns away from the main road.
I think that would get a little chuckle out of Isabel, actually. That's a pretty creative insult. I think she would get a kick out of that one.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'll make my way straight to my lodgings.
Yeah, as you sort of depart from the company, you see a man kind of reach to him and like, he's looking rough, like very feeble, very kind of sick. And they proceed to have an argument. As you return to the Nowhere, however, the inn with which you have found yourself, bit of lodgings, you notice still at her seat, kind of plucking away at the strings of a lute, you notice Lorraine, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Lorraine kind of looks to you, nods as the tunes play on. It's about midday at this point, solidly midday.
How's like her trade going? Does she look like she's doing well for the day, or does she look pretty bad?
This will be a deduction.
Okay, deduction. Where are you? Oh, you're under intelligence. Oh, I'm not trading you. Boo. So that is 12.
12 plus anything, or is it
Nope.
just 12 total?
12 total.
The trade of the bards is always something that is variable. You don't get the sense that she's doing any worse than she usually does.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't seem to be sort of betraying any sort of disappointment, so...
Okay. I'll before I make my way to my room, I'll go up to the barkeep and I'll pay for a drink for her.
Again, the innkeep is sort of a round-faced woman who sort of looks to you and says, All right, 4 crowns, please.
I'll hand them over.
She nods and looks to Lorraine and whistles quite harshly. Stout or ale, huh? Lorraine kind of blinks a few times and looks to you kind of graciously. This is some stout, please. Her accent betraying her origin, unfortunately. Right. The innkeep shuffles up, quite in a foul mood, but you get the sense that's just her.
Mm-hmm.
That's her life story. Noreen kind of looks to you in gracious acceptance.
Small token from one country woman to another.
She speaks to you in Nilfgaardian at this point, in sort of in tones. So few of us around these parts.
It's a shame we should find ourselves so north.
Indeed it is. She kind of breathes a sigh. Doesn't really react for a good minute or so. Then, as the stout is brought out and laid before her, she goes back to the lute.
I'll just sort of there's like that awkward silence there. Like, we're both here. We're both not happy about being here, but I don't want to press her, and she doesn't want to press me. So it's just kind of like a nod and a smile and a take care. And I just leave her.
Indeed. And so, as you ascend the staircase of the nowhere, find yourself on the second floor and find yourself in the company of Lauron.
What is he like when I enter? Because he was quite dejected and sad when I left.
He has, at this point, given his relative state of unknown, in regards to the situation that saw you receiving a letter basically blackmailing you, he's kind of high strung. So as you sort of enter, he you see he was sort of in a laid back position upon the bed, and then as you enter, he sort of clutches at his sword, which is sort of draped across him, and shoots up like a lightning bolt.
I immediately put my hands up and I said, "Do you mean to strike me down, dear knight?"
He immediately regrets this as he clutches at his excuse me, at his oh gosh, where was the injury? I think it was at his leg, was it not? Or
I think so.
Leg or the base of his back. It was somewhere on there, but he clutches at the back of him and kind of like sits back. Of course not.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the look of a brigand about you, and I'm feeling merciful.
Wow. Such a good job that you're a gallant knight-errant then, and I'm not going to be struck down like some sort of rogue in the streets. But you may yet have to strike me down, dear. I appear to have fallen in with a strange sort of companions.
Strange or dangerous?
Well, one of them's a witcher. The other is... I'm not entirely sure how to describe her. She's something.
A witcher wrote that letter?
No, I'm not entirely sure that witcher is literate, but it was one of his associates who perhaps should have taken a few sensitivity lessons in his schooling.
His northern... I do not believe sensitivity is in their vocabulary.
No.
Or their manner.
No.
Or their society.
No.
In fact, I do not think it is anywhere in this blessed place.
I'm not entirely sure they understand the concept. Northerners. That pains me, by the way, as a Yorkshire woman. It pains me to be disparaging about the North. I hope you all know.
It hurts to hear it from you as well.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's a betrayal. It's fantasy Northern.
It's fantasy Northern.
And fantasy Northern, especially in the Witcher's case, is terrible.
It's like Doncaster. It's an extremely English joke. Regardless, Laurent, I do, unfortunately, have to leave today.
Not too far, I would hope.
I think they said something about it being away, a day away. Not too far.
Be still my heart, however shall we survive?
How will we cope? In better news, however, our lodgings will be paid for.
By who?
A man, well, dwarf by the name of Galen.
He squints.
I don't know who he is either, but he and his consorts have sworn that while ever I am under their employ, that I will be safe, you will be safe.
He sort of rubs at his back and kind of cracks his neck. Why does it feel as though there is a knife to our throat?
Well, because, dear, there is.
Have I mentioned how much I despise this place? There's sort of that jesting nature about him inherent, but there's a venom that lies beneath the words. He kind of falls back upon the bed, dejected almost.
Yeah. Isabel, she'll go up and she'll sort of like, just slink into the side of him, just sort of sigh. Say, I wish I could see the sun again.
I'd settle for a green fucking field.
One day.
Well.
We'll go back one day.
Back to Toussaint. Land of fairy tales. He sort of shakes his head and sighs. When I refuse to sit like a log, I shall find some sort of work.
All right, but make sure you don't injure yourself any further. You're no use to me like this, and I sort of elbow in. I don't want to hear you raising that sword while I'm away.
I shall do it very quietly then.
She sort of like chuckles a little bit.
You both share this sort of moment of respite. He sits up. Right. Suppose I should help you pack, huh?
Wherever will I store all my dresses? And I like look at my luggage, which is like 2 dresses in it. Like, oh.
A fair point. Perhaps we should decide your outfit before you go.
Yes, actually, you can help me accessorize. Tell me, what goes with Bandit Blood Red?
I don't know. But we'll have to start from scratch. And he smiles. And
go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
And Isabel she gets like this big cheeky smile on her face. She says, oh, that's actually a fantastic idea. They are waiting for me, but they can wait a bit longer. And then she's going to loon in for a smooch and then fade to black.
Close the door. Locked and certainly. Good Lord. All right.
It's The Witcher. It's horny as shit. Don't at me.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I'm surprised that we made 3 sessions, like, somewhat chaste. Like, good Lord. All right. Going from there, we return to Faelynis. At the Golden Sturgeon, they receive you rather warmly, especially when Galen explains the arrangements. As you sort of continue to sort of lark along and finally receive this bath that you had been waiting for, is there anything you would like to do or anyone you'd like to talk to?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get that bath as quick as I can. Just the good scrub, get my clothes washed. As soon as they're dry, I'm gonna head back to. Oh, I've forgotten names in real life. Donald. Oh, I don't have them written down. I don't have my notebook. Crap. Where I was staying.
Nyla and Dommel.
Yes. Okay, I was close.
Yes, over in the hovel where Nyla and Dommel are staying.
Yeah.
As you sort of make your way to the hovel, you actually encounter them upon the road as you see them in sort of an alleyway, and they seem to be having kind of a terse discussion as, again, in sort of the elder speech, as Dommel is looking a little bit worse for wear, and Nyla seems to be chastising him for rising from bed.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to them. Like, well, there's no easy way to say it. I'm leaving. I don't have much choice in the matter. And I realize that might put you both in an awkward position.
You see Nyla kind of vibrating with anger before Dommel kind of steps forward. It is fine, friend. In our line of work, of course. It is very frequent that those that we meet, we must bid goodbye to.
That being said, you've been very good to me, and you didn't have to be. I appreciate it. And I hope you'll understand that when one does not have steady income coming in, it's best to keep what you have for yourself, especially in our line of work.
Dommel kind of chuckles at this.
And so I'm asking you, how much do you need to get you through? I don't have much, but how much do you need?
Dommel tries to refuse, but Nyla kind of jumps at the opportunity. 50 crowns. That should cover our basic expenses, but if of course you would be so generous. He needs to see someone. Dommel kind of, sister, please. No, I can't let this go. He needs to see a healer. There is one that I know at the hospital. 25 crowns on top of that. 75 at total.
Here's 80.
With that flood of generosity, you kind of see Nyla reach out her hands and grasp each one of them. A couple of them fall, and she immediately, hastily gathers them back.
I hope that's enough.
She pulls you into a tight embrace. And it's at that point I'd like you to make a human perception check, an elven perception check. So that'd be empathy with human perception.
Oh, let's see. With human perception? Okay.
Yes.
So it's just 11 then.
11. It's easy to tell, especially having spent even the few weeks that you have with them. She is utterly grateful. And though she can't really quantify it in speech at the minute, she just continually just intones thanks, heaping praise and blessing upon you. Just half sentences of great relief kind of spilling from her. She constantly sort of refers to you as Faynwed, which in the elder speech, even means sunchild, and how you've sort of lit upon this dark path. And she kind of clasps your hands and says, Guardian Faynwed, be careful. That is all that I ask. If there is anything that we can do for you.
You can do for me by taking care of yourselves. You've done plenty already.
Dommel kind of pulls Nyla back and nods. We shall endeavor to do so.
And I'm just gonna wave and leave at that point. Probably head back to my lodgings. My new lodgings.
Faelynis. Be safe. A fit of coughing stops him from voicing more than that. And they take their leave from the streets.
And that's really all. I'm clean, so I guess go back and meet up with the Witcher.
All right.
I guess, yeah. Nowhere else to be.
I need you to make a perception check.
Oh dear. Oh, this new system. It always takes me a minute.
Okay, so this perception is under intelligence, so it's awareness, excuse me, not perception.
Awareness, okay.
So awareness, so it's intelligence plus the awareness skill. So it's a D10.
19.
Okay. There were a couple of beggars that actually saw you bestow this windfall to Nyla and Dommel. None of them seem to have any vicious machinations against them, but all of them kind of extend their hand a little bit more to you.
How many?
There are a couple, just a couple.
We give each of them what piece to? However many there are, they just get one.
The two that you gave to kind of look to you and nod. One of them a human, the other seeming to be another elf. But both of them equally kind of grateful.
Okay, just don't even say anything, just hand and
Leave.
go. Yeah.
All right. As you take your leave and return, you come upon the office where Talon and Erst have been whiling away their hours, and that Galen shortly departed to after your establishment with the Golden Sturgeon. Now returning to Talon, is there anything at all you would like to do?
Don't know how many I'll be able to do, but a cat potion if possible, and beast oil and hanged man's venom.
Okay, so I'll say
2 oils and a potion.
I'll say that with the time frame, you'll probably get 2 of those done.
I'll just go for both oils then.
Okay, so the Hangman's Venom and Beast Oil?
Mhm.
Okay. At that, if I'm not mistaken, alchemy is a very interesting sort of thing. You'll have to roll an alchemy crafting roll, if I'm not mistaken. So let me see here. Okay, so the alchemy is under craft. Then let me go ahead and see crafting designs, fixing strategy, substances. I'll say that for the purposes of okay, formulae, hallucinogen, no. Where are the Witcher potions again? That's way at the bottom, isn't it?
The potion list is on page 247.
247. There it is. Okay. Oh, so cat will take 2 hours. So at the same time, we'll say that you're doing beast oil. Go ahead and roll for. Oh wait, no. Oh man, I screwed you out of it. You can do all 3. Never mind.
All right, cool.
So let's go for a craft, which is an alchemy check on cat. Tell me what you roll.
So that's going to be. Oh, my craft's actually quite high. So that's 9. 16 for that.
Just barely enough. So it didn't cooperate with you for the half hour that you worked on it, and it was like the last 5 minutes were the most crucial. It either made or broke the actual dose that you brewed, but you were able to do so without incident, and you were able to make it just fine.
Cool. So I have the potion, the cat potion.
So you have the cat potion. Now, which do you want to do? The beast oil or the hangman's venom?
May as well start with beast.
All right, go ahead.
That's going to be a 16 again.
Okay.
It doesn't like other numbers, apparently, does this dice?
Yeah, no, apparently not. That is a D10, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure, because...
I separated out all of my D10s.
Hey, there's a lad. So, rolling on the D10, you got 16?
Again, yeah.
Okay,
I'm using a different one this time around.
Much more cooperative. 15 minutes goes by, you're an old hand at this, and you're able to bang out a dosage of the beast oil.
Okay, and then Hangman's Venom. It bounced off of a 10 onto an 8, so this is higher. So it's,
okay.
12 plus 8, so 20.
All right. Same thing with the Hangman's Venom. It was only the potion that you had a little bit of a time with, but you're able to craft each of these just perfectly well, and yeah.
Cool. I'll add them to my list somewhere, wherever it would be most appropriate.
Indeed. It's somewhere.
Yeah, well, there's like 4 sheets. I need to know that I'm putting it in the right place.
Indeed. So, as this occurs, Galen and Eris are sort of discussing the shipment that was just brought in by the Broader's Disgrace, which seemed to be a lot of whale oil and a few other sort of bits and pieces. The logistical side of the business has always eluded you and not really interested you. But as Faelynis, you enter into the office, you note that Erst kind of intones, "All right, your requisition has gone through as well, Master Witcher. The 2 horses are yours."
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And looks to Faelynis as she walks in. "If there's nothing else," and he looks to Galen. Galen waves him off. Hey. Ah, looking fine and fresh as ever. I trust that the people at the Golden Sturgeon were accommodating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they should be for I paid them. He chuckles. Right, so it's just one more that we're waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Not that bad. Huh. To be quite honest, I thought it would be a bloody mess. Especially what with Erst. I promise you, he's good at what he does, but what he does, it's not very nice.
So ergo, he's not very nice.
It depends on how you know him. If you know him drunk, then I can tell you he's a lot nicer.
Wonderful.
I'll just kind of find a corner and wait
Yeah,
quietly.
same. But just find a spot and just kind of lean my head back against the wall, take a little nap.
How long after this does Isabel come?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
It's at least an hour.
Indeed, indeed. So, as about 15 minutes pass by, Galen kind of... Right. Do I suppose either of you play Gwent, eh?
Sure I do.
Purely because I don't play Gwent, no.
Faelynis.
I'm assuming she would. Yes, my very limited knowledge of The Witcher.
There has to be one in the group that plays Gwen. It's just like the
Okay.
rule.
I volunteer. Okay, I'll be the Gwent player. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, roll a tactics roll just real quick.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
Is there not a skill called Gwent?
No, it's
There's
tactics.
no Gwent skill.
There should
There's
be
no
a Gwent
there
skill.
should be a
There
Gwent
should
skill.
be. That's a 17.
Oh God. So that's that's not enough.
Didn't
Sorry.
say I was good at it.
Yeah. He loaned you a Northern Realms deck, which you get the sense he kind of stacked against, like, with the Nilfgaard deck that he's playing with, and like he kind of handily kicks your ass around for a little bit.
Is it like when your friends try and get you into Magic and they give you like a
Yeah.
random deck just so that they can try out their new deck?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's fine. I'll teach you. And it's like, nah, they just want to like destroy you.
What kind of friends are these? My god!
Say that's so mean.
Damn!
Oh, just
What
meet them.
people do you know?
I just described them thoroughly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
We've got a police sketch ready to go. Good Lord. Okay. We'll say that probably eats up about 15 minutes of time. And then the rest
I hope
of
it doesn't eat up my money because I don't have any left, really.
No, Galen doesn't play for,
Okay.
at least not with newbies.
Okay.
So, as this goes along, Isabel. Finally making your way to the Novigrad docks. Laron is absolutely devastated, and he sort of says so as he's like clings to you, like feigning helplessness, and kind of. It took a little while to persuade yourself to leave. You find the strength somewhere, make your way down to the docks. As you walk by, I need you to make a perception check.
Ooh. Okay, 1 second. I don't have the right sheet open. There we go. Where's my D10 set? You mean awareness?
Yes, awareness. God, that one. The one in this system, not the one in D&D.
That is a 18.
18. Okay. You only met him for a short time, but as you sort of make your way down the docks, you see the kind of frazzled form of Mungen kind of wandering around. He's clutching at a scarf that kind of hangs from his neck and like looking around very nervously. And he produces a pipe, shoving wads of tobacco into it, and kind of tries to light it with some flint and tinder that he has, but he keeps fumbling and kind of drops it to the ground. And he's like, he's not doing too good, at least from what you see.
I'll watch the scene play out in front of me for a little bit, like at least to the point where he drops his pipe. But I will walk over and pick it up and light it for him.
As you sort of light the pipe itself and you try to hand it to him, he kind of reaches back and looks to you. Keep it. It's fine. I don't need it.
I lit it using the flint thing, not my magic.
Yeah, he even with
just
that,
so.
Like, yes, good clarification. But even with that, he's just like, I don't need it.
Just kind of look at him down here. What is wrong with you?
As you ask this very pointed question, he kind of stills himself. Sorry.
Look at me. Look at me.
He tries to find your eyes, and it takes him a while, but he does kind of look to you. And you see him now. He's a bear of a man. He stands a good foot above you, and like very, very thick hair that kind of clings to his head and face. Not in any sort of sensible pattern, but just because of the wild nature of his travels. His hair kind of falls down to his shoulders a little bit, and he's in a frazzled state. But he's looking at you squarely now.
What is your name?
Mungen.
What ship are you on?
Broader's Disgrace, Mungen.
Good. Good. What are you doing out here, Mungen?
Having a smoke. Having trained. He sort of shakes his head and kind of taps the back of his head, trying to just clear my mind.
Of what?
He sort of taps his head rather harshly, and he tries answering, but nothing kind of comes out. That's just something. Sea air's not doing me well. It's just too much of it. It's just tired. I was tired.
Can I look him over? I'm not trained in any sort of medical arts, but can I just have a preliminary look over to see if he looks sick, or if this is something maybe magical or anything like that's got to him?
If they would be separate checks.
Mm-hmm.
I can say at the minute you can probably check one.
Okay. Isabel has no idea about medicine, so I'd see if it was a magical effect.
Okay.
Was screwing him up.
Probably be education, I suppose.
Oh, I'm trained in that. Nice.
Yeah. Because that's what you received at Gryson Hall. It was in sort of education.
Oh god, hair stuck on the microphone.
Or is that education? I don't know. The level of formal education, the amount. Yeah, sure.
Cool. I got a 18.
18. There's a variety of things. There are obviously the many disorders that the mind is heir to. There are obviously many things that this could be. It could be magic. It just all depends. You'd have to know him for longer than a few minutes to really divine what exactly is happening.
Okay, Mungan, do your crewmates know you're here?
Dara knows. Dara knows. They need me on the ship most days, but that's only to calm down Seamus. It's only to calm down Seamus.
Who's Seamus?
Seamus? Friend who's... No, it was named after a friend. It's my charge, my bear.
Your bear?
He nods.
Do I know about skelegers and bears?
That'll probably be,
I imagine there's a lot about... I don't really know a lot about Skellige. It's not...
Yeah, it's... go ahead and do... I guess... Ups. It's a bit... let's go with... deduction.
Deduction. See what I can deduce.
Deduce. Yes.
11.
You think you're taking the term bear a little literally, but it could potentially be that he has a bear. But thinking about bears, you know bears. They're real big, like nasty teeth, and like you don't own them unless you're in the north, you guess.
Listen, Mungan, is anyone else on your ship sick?
He shakes his head.
And how long have you felt like this?
Again, he make a persuasion check at this point, I think.
Okay. Oh, I have a lot in this. Oh, no. 22.
He looks to you and you see a clarity kind of come across his features. Long time. I hear. I've heard voices before. It's just they get a bit loud sometimes.
And these voices... Are they just people talking? Do they tell you to do things?
They jabber. They just jabber and jabber.
Right. Does anybody know about this on your ship?
Captain knows. Dara knows.
Captain knows, Dara knows. Okay.
Effie knows. She's back home. She's back home. He smiles and kind of twirls the scarf in his hand.
All right, well, perhaps you should make your way back to your ship. Rest up.
After the smoke. After. And he
Okay.
sort of holds out his hand.
Hand him a pipe. Wait, is
Breathe.
it just tobacco? I haven't just given this guy like a fist tech pipe or anything, right?
No, just tobacco. You even smell it. It's just tobacco.
Cool. I actually don't even know if that's how you take fist tech.
It's hell if I know. But do you adjourn from this?
Yeah, I kind of like... watch him for a minute as I walk. I walk a bit away. I'm not just stood there staring at him like he's in a zoo. But I'll walk away a bit and just keep an eye on him for a second before I make my way back.
As you turn up, Miss.
Hmm?
Thank you. You do a lot more than most. He calls after you.
I'll just say, take care, Mungan.
And he nods. Kind of goes back to his pipe. And puffs away.
I make my way back to these sorry lot.
All right. Making your way to Gallon's office, you're greeted with a somewhat... Excuse me.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord. Ugh.
Nice.
I love it when that
Nice.
happens to me.
No kidding. You're greeted with a somewhat strange sight as Gallon is sort of kicking the teeth of Faelynis in and Gwent. But, nonetheless, he greets you and smiles. Hey, what took you so long, eh?
I had business to attend to.
I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, you lot better be making your ways down, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Already got some horses lined up down the way.
Good.
Me?
Well then, what are we waiting for?
You?
Ever the Joker, Master Witcher. And I'll get to the horses.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember where you said they were.
Make an intelligence check.
I assume it'd just be like outside, but...
No, there was a specific area that was said where the horses would be.
Make a what check again, sorry?
That's an intelligence. Just straight up intelligence.
Just straight up intelligence.
It's straight
13 then.
Okay. You have to think about it for a minute, but you recall it was the port side gate.
Okay. I'll just start heading that way and just say... I won't even say it. I'll just sort of gesture to follow, if not. Do what you want, sort of idea.
Kind of lean over to Isabel, like to say, I realize the answer's probably no.
Mm.
But I would like to offer Twinkle to ride to the horse. If you don't want to track in the mud.
Sorry, that just kind of took Susie off guard. She's just gonna kind of... Isabel will just kind of look at you. Furrow her brow. That is a generous offer, but I shall decline at present. Thank you, Faelynis. I just imagine Faelynis doing a lot of bowing.
Yeah, just like, milady.
Sure.
It knows when somebody's up above her. Like, hey, there you go.
Mhm.
All right. Making
I'm
your way
getting
down.
on I'm getting on Twinkle, and I'm riding.
All
I
right.
offered.
I'm gonna. That's has to be a roll somewhere.
Mm.
Riding. Yes. I need you to make a reflex riding check.
Okay. Don't like that. So that's a 10.
It is not as graceful as you had originally planned. And indeed, as you sort of try to ride Twinkle, they kind of like buckle against you, like just very in a very mean way. You're able to sort of hang on, but it's questionable as to whether this was more comfortable than walking.
Why do you hate my donkey so much, Jason?
I don't hate your donkey. You just have crap rolls.
Everything is like, God, this ass. Oh, everything. Like, do people not have donkeys in this game?
All right. So, make your way down to the portside gate, you... Good lord. You find with various ease, veritable ease, because Sojin is the one actually having the reins of these monstrosities, the 2 horses that have been requisitioned. And so he hands the reins off to you, Talon. Trust I'll be everything, eh?
As far as I know, yeah. Unless they've asked for anything.
Something bloody hope so.
All right.
Right.
Sure.
So that's coming from you. So
I'll take the reins of one of them and then just sort of turn to the others.
all right.
Which is the prettiest horse?
There's a. I'll let you determine for yourself. There's a chestnut horse, and its mange is kept to a minimum. It's still kind of flea bitten and not the best. The other one is sort of a paint horse that's not exactly the worst for wear, but it's sort of equitable.
Roach is a chestnut mare, so I'm picking the other one.
Okay.
Because Roach is the worst horse in history.
So climbing onto the paint horse, it kind of like.
Wait, so now the Witcher gets the chestnut horse?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to still
Roach
try
and
to
you
ride
like
your
it.
donkey? Faelynis?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to keep up.
Okay, so do you want to join one of them, or do you want to keep riding your donkey?
My donkey. Donkeys are meant to be ridden.
All right, all of you roll riding checks.
Oh boy.
You go in dice jail. You gave me petrol.
Oh, I'm trained in riding. Of course I am.
Of course you are.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, I got a 10 on the dice.
Oh dear.
21 from me.
18.
It's better. It's a 14.
I'll say just for ease, as you continue riding along the roads, it's a little bit of a smoother way about it. The ground here is quite hard, so your hoof falls find purchase quite easily. As you continue along and as you ride into the evening, you find yourselves near the woods that are south of Erston. Or, excuse me, that are south of Novigrad near Erston. That's what it is. As all of you head into the night, into the tree line, there is an eerie stillness that hangs about. A certain air. It's hard to shake. As such, I'd like y'all to roll one final perception check.
Awareness.
Awareness! Gosh.
Oh,
Right.
We'll get there. It's a new system, folks.
yeah.
I keep looking. Where's the oh?
Ooh.
Instead of it being right at the bottom, it's now at the top.
Ah,
11.
13.
19.
Faelynis and Isabel, being new hires, they don't exactly know what to look for. But fortunately, Talon, you do. On the side of the road in a small clearing, there is a caravan. Well, to call it a caravan would be charitable. It's more of a loose collection of carts that are somewhat well guarded. And indeed, as you ride upon it, you hear a blood-curdling scream as torchlight softly illuminates the space. With that, we'll go ahead and call it.
Ah!
Mm.
Dang.
Mm.
Well,
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Apologies for the early end to this stream. However, there are just a few things to get on my end, so unfortunate. But we thank you all for joining Grains of Truth tonight, and we look forward to introducing elements to the campaign that will both complicate and excite, I'm sure. as the group finally forays into the world properly.
And hopefully Talon warms up, don't worry. Eventually there'll be a character between me and Susie that don't, like, argue.
I mean, I've been pleasant to Talon's face.
Yeah. And, like, he's not been outwardly, like, mean either.
Yeah.
But I just get this sensation, like, it's going to be a bit... until it's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's us, Jamie. We can't have characters that aren't, bickering all the time. It's just what we do.
I know, right?
Good lord.
And, Faelynis and Isabel are probably going to be really gay with each other at some point because it's me and Alice. We can't not. So it's just what's in store.
Oh, it just happens. Yeah.
I signed up for this. This is what I wanted.
Jason said, let's run a game. And I was like, I know the people to ask.
Indeed. All right. Any plugs, anything that you would like to promote as we wind down today's session?
I'll go last because I've got 1 million.
I don't have anything. My life.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Now that it's like the first session,
Mm-hmm.
and is this the first roleplay session that's been on the channel this year as well?
Yep.
There we go. We're the first. Haha, everyone else.
Jamie, you're in all the other games.
I know, so I'm allowed to say it regardless. It's a win-win.
All right, then I'll do my plugs. On Thursday, we have the premiere episode of Once Upon a Time, which is the viewer game for Encounter Roleplay, in which I am DMing a bunch of hapless adventurers through Brooklyn Nine-Nine meets Shrek. That is at 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST on twitch.tv/Encounter Roleplay. That's our very first session. So we'll have an introduction to the world, look out on adventure. It'll be fun. Friday is the premiere episode of Acton Cthulhu, Shadows of Atlantis, which is the 2D20 version of Acton Cthulhu, and that will be at the same time on the same channel, so 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST on Encounter Roleplay. It will be our character creation session. I'm making a very northern character to make up for all my other characters that aren't northern, so be prepared for the most Yorkshire woman in existence to happen on Friday. So tune in for that. Then in 3 weeks' time, on Sunday, we will be having, it will be the start of The Lost Girls, which is a cipher system game about 80s vampires, in which I'll be playing a trash child, and I just got art for her today, and it's so good, I'm so excited. And that will be on twitch.tv/webdm at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 3 p.m. EST. Besides that, Kurion is back next week.
You weren't lying.
Kurion is back, so Mondays from this point onwards will be Kurion every week unless somebody's on holiday or ill or whatever. That's 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, and that is our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition homebrew adventure in which I play a dwarf barbarian, Jamie plays our half-elf bard, and they fight all the time, and I have threatened to kill him on several occasions. It's a lot of fun, but we're a little family despite the murder threats. Then next week also, Bike Club is back, which is our Curse of Strahd adventure. Jamie, Stu, Lydia, Marissa, we will all be back through the crypts of Castle Ravenloft, opening the rest of the tombs, because there's 44 of them, and they wanted to do every single one of them. So we'll be finishing that off next week. That'll be back after about a month off. That's 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST on this channel. I think that's it.
So watch this space, watch Encounter Roleplay, and indeed on Mondays as well.
Here's the thing. I made a schedule and I put it on my tweet. It's my pinned tweet. So if you want to see where I am, what I'll be doing at any point, it's on there. All the times, channels listed, the games, the systems, all that stuff. If you are new to the channel, please do consider throwing us a follow. If you like what you see, please do consider subscribing. If you have Twitch Prime, you can subscribe for free to one of your favorite streamers. Wink.
Wow, is that for free?
You could go to YouTube. Oh no, the YouTube link isn't working. Which is youtube.com/Susanna Grace to catch up on all previous episodes. Grains of Truth will be getting uploaded. The latest episodes of Kurion will be getting uploaded. Bike Club, all that good stuff. Oh, it did load. Yeah, eventually. So, yeah. Besides that, follow us all on Twitter.
Grace with one N.
It's Susanna Grace with one N. Thank you, Alice.
Yes, one N. For myself and my own portion of it, I've got a game, Inquisitor, on Encounter Roleplay on Mondays, 1 p.m. CST, 2 p.m. EST. If you have a mind to follow my escapades and whatnot, also consider following all these lovely people here. And for now, I think until next time, which will be January 22nd, we bid you farewell, and we hope to see you again.
Mm-hmm. And in celebration for the really Yorkshire character.
Yes!
I'm just yawning and stretching. There's nothing
Where has
else
the been
going
since I saw thee? I saw thee on it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.